Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. Today in our yoga practice, we're going to go over the foundations. So whether you are new to yoga or you've been doing it for a while, it's really good to go over the basic foundations of down dog and forward folds to make sure we're doing them correctly, because they're done a lot in a yoga practice. So you want to make sure that you're doing it in a way that's going to benefit you and not bring you harm. So that's what today's focus is going to be. So grab your mat and join me on the mat. We're going to start in child's pose. So sink your hips back towards your heels and reach your arms out. Lengthen through the crown of your head, down through your tailbone. Begin to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Just feel the lengthening in your spine. Feel your hips releasing and relaxing, your lower back releasing and relaxing. Breathe in and breathe out. So when we come up onto all fours, we want to make sure that we spread into our fingers and press into every knuckle and the whole palm. And that way it's going to evenly distribute the weight into your hands. So a lot of times, most of the weight gets put at the bottom of the palm, and that's really hard on the wrist. So you want to make sure you're gripping the mat and pressing evenly. And then so we're going to come up to all fours and just ground in. And if you notice, as you press in to the mat and grip the mat, you relieve some of the pressure off the wrists. So roll your shoulder blades back and down. Be long through your neck. Knees are hip width apart and directly below your hips. Hands are directly below your shoulders. We're going to drop the belly, lift the chest, tip to tailbone, and then exhale, round the spine up towards the sky. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest and tailbone. Exhale, draw the navel in and push the spine up, arching it like a cat. Again, breathe in and breathe out. We're going to do one more time for each. Full breaths in and full breaths out. Coming into a neutral spine, we're going to tuck the toes. Again, spread into those fingers, press into every knuckle, grip that mat, engage your core, lift the hips up and back for downward facing dog. So I'm pushing the weight away from my hands. You should notice kind of almost a straight line from your wrist to your middle finger. So you don't want to be over your wrist, so there's a real definite bend and crease in your wrist. Push the weight away. Roll your shoulder blades down your back, lift your tailbone up high. So you can bend into your knees as much as you need to have this straight spine. So what you want to avoid is trying to keep your legs too straight for your flexibility and coming over your hands. So go ahead and bend into them. Chest is falling towards your thighs. So I have a straight line from my tailbone through the crown of my head, through my middle fingers. And then we're going to start to pedal. So I bend into one knee and then the other, pushing one heel down towards the mat and then the other. Full breaths in and full breaths out. Warming up the hips and the hamstrings and the calves. Keep pressing into the mat with every knuckle, your whole palm. And breathe. Couple more pedals. And then on your next exhale, press both heels towards the mat. So we're going to look between our hands, and I want you to walk your feet to your hands. So bend into your knees as much as you need to make that happen. Coming to the top of your mat, your belly's going to touch your thighs, top of the head reaches down, and tailbone reaches up high towards the sky. This is forward fold. So having that connection with the torso and the belly is really important. You wouldn't want to hang out over like this in your forward fold. That's a lot on your spine. So we want to look for more of a straighter line from the tailbone down to the mat through the crown of the head. And let the weight of your head hang down. Feel the lengthening happening in your spine. Go ahead and shake your head. Make sure you're not holding it up. Let's walk our hands over to one side of one foot and hang out here for this nice little stretch. Breathe. Coming back to your center, and then go over to the other side and hang out here for a breath or two. And then let's come back to center. So we're going to rise halfway up into monkey. So here we want to rest our hands either on our thighs or our shins, never on the knees, because that might cause you to hyperextend your knees. Stick my wire back in here. But you want to have some support for the torso. So hands on the thighs or the shins. Roll your shoulder blades back and down. Engage your core and draw your navel in towards your spine. You want to be straight from your tailbone all the way through the crown of your head. Roll your shoulder blades back and down and lengthen out your neck. Breathe here in monkey. And then let's come into a forward fold again. Belly touches the thigh, top of the head down. So next we're going to bend into the knees, engage the core. Inhale, circle sweep the hands all the way up over the head, and then exhale them down through your heart center for mountain pose. So in mountain pose, we want to spread our toes, just kind of like we did with the hands on the mat. We want to press in evenly to our feet. So we have 4 points of the foot. So big toe, little toe. See if I can balance on one foot. Right at the pad, big toe, little toe, and 2 at the heels. So it's like a little square or rectangle for your feet. Grounding in, spread the toes, rise up through the crown of the head, engage your core by drawing the navel in towards the spine and tucking your ribs down. This is mountain pose. So we're just going to go through a little flow, nice and slow, so I can teach you proper alignment. So inhale the hands up high. When we exhale, we're going to lift the chest and gaze up and back. So we don't want to push the hips forward and lean back. We want to keep nice and straight and try to get the bend in the upper back. So it might not be much of a bend for you, and that's okay. Just think about a string tied to your sternum pulling you up and back, and breathe. And then come back to center and come into a forward fold, bending into the knees, top of the head down, tailbone up high. Inhale halfway up into monkey. Exhale, hands back down. We're going to step the left foot way back. So here you want to make sure the knee stays over your ankle. You're going to engage your core and rise up nice and sturdy into a lunge. Bring the hands up high. Breathe. Exhale your hands down. We're going to step into that down dog. So spread into your fingers. Engage your core. Push your weight back. Lift the tailbone up. Breathe. Chest is falling towards your thighs and shoulder blades are rolled back and down. Inhale forward to a plank. So I'm just waving my hips forward. So I'm hovering over my chest. Drawing the navel in towards the spine. Keeping my neck long. Elbows kick back. Lower down chaturanga. Come all the way to the mat. Inhale, lift your chest up for a cobra, using the strength of your back. Retuck your toes, tighten your abs, press it back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up high, and let's bring that foot forward in between the hands. If it gets stuck in the middle, you can grab behind your ankle and move it right underneath your knee. Keep your hips level, your core engaged, and rise up. Power step it up. Plant your foot next to the foot at the top and then sink into chair. Your hands can be up high or they can be at heart center. Tuck your tailbone in, engage your core for chair. Breathe. Sink down low. You should be able to see your toes, just the tips of them. The weight's in the heels. I can wiggle my toes here. Hands come to heart center. Fold forward. Top of the head down, tailbone up towards the sky. We're going to do the other side. So inhale, circle sweep all the way up. Exhale, fold forward, hinge at your hips, bend into your knees, belly touches your thighs, top of the head down. Inhale, halfway up into monkey. Straighten your spine, engage your core. Exhale, fold forward. Step your right foot way back. Keep your front knee over your ankle, engage your core, and rise up into a lunge. Hands come back to the mat. Step it back for downward facing dog, pushing the weight away from your hands, gripping the mat with your hands, bending into your knees. Chest falls towards your thighs, tailbone reaches up high. Inhale, wave it forward. Keep a nice strong core as you do so. Exhale, lower down chaturanga. This time you can come all the way down like you did before, or flip it up into an up dog. So in the up dog, none of my legs are on the mat. My shoulder blades are back and down. Chest is lifted up high. Retuck your toes, tighten your abs. Press it back, downward facing dog, and breathe. Inhale the right leg up high, and let's bring it forward in between your hands. Remember, if it gets stuck, move it there. Get it right underneath your knee and rise up. Power step it up, and then sink into your chair. Weights in the heels, engage your core, tuck your tailbone slightly, sit down. Breathe. Hands to your heart center if they're not already. Fold forward. Keep your hands on the mat. We're going to step one knee back and down, and then the other. We're going to sink down into your child's pose. Lengthen out to the crown of your head, and breathe. Let's rise up nice and slow. And we'll come to seated on the mat. Have the legs out in front. You want to fluff your feathers, so get onto your sit bones. My knees and my toes are pointing straight up, so my feet aren't just flopping around, they're active. Roll the shoulder blades back and down, engage the core. Rise up to the crown of your head. This is staff pose. It's actually a pretty challenging pose because we normally just want to sit slouchy. So engage the core, tuck the ribs down, draw the navel in towards the spine, and breathe. Inhale the hands up high. We're going to hinge at the hips and lead with the chest, coming into a fold. So you can either grab your toes, but if you can't reach there, you can grab your ankles or your shins. Roll your shoulder blades back and down. Have your chest going towards your toes right now. Try to come down with a straight spine as much as you can. Maybe you could scoot your tailbone out a bit. Once you get out as straight as you can that way, then you can start to round down and draw your forehead towards your knees. Your elbows might start to drop towards the mat. Breathe. You'll feel your hamstrings being stretched, your lower back, maybe your calves, your hips. Use your breath to soften the muscles. Lift your chest back up to a straight spine and then come out. So next we're going to pull in the right leg and extend out the left and sit nice and tall and even on your sit bones. Again, an active leg, so the toes and knees are pointing towards the sky. Crown of the head's reaching up. Take an inhale. Exhale, twist up and around towards your bent knee. Use your right hand right behind your tailbone as a little stick to hold you up nice and tall. So each inhale, lengthen, each exhale, twist. Move with your breath. Full breaths in and full breaths out. And then on your next exhale, slowly unwind. Square your chest to your extended leg. Try to keep that right hip down. It's going to want to pop up. And then hinge at your hips and lead with your chest and come into a forward fold here. So we want to keep the chest square to the leg instead of being open like that. When I square to my extended leg, I'm going to feel that awesome stretch down the right side of my lower back. So reaching out as far as you can with a straight spine, and then you can start to draw your forehead towards your knee. Allow that right hip to sink into the mat. Release and let it go. Rise up nice and slow, coming to the center, and we'll do the other side. So bend into your left, extend out your right, keep it active. Sit evenly on your sit bones, coming up nice and straight out of your hips. Take an inhale, and then exhale, twist up and around towards the left, towards your bent knee. Each inhale, lengthen. Each exhale, maybe you can twist a little more. Feel the lengthening happening in your spine. You might get a couple cracks out of your back here. Good cracks. Full breaths in and full breaths out. On your next exhale, gently unwind. Square your chest to your extended leg. Hinge at your hips. Lead with your chest coming down. Keeping square. Letting the left hip sink down into the mat and fold forward. Going down as far as you can with a straight spine, and then you can start to round down, drawing forehead towards your knee. Breathe. One more breath cycle here. Slowly rising up, coming back to your center. Let's go ahead and cross our ankles, coming into this easy seated position. If it hurts your knees, you can have some yoga blocks underneath your hips if you need to. Or if your hips are really tight, that's helpful. But otherwise, just allow the knees to open up, grounding in evenly to your sit bones, rising up through the crown of your head. Shoulders are softly back and down. Core's slightly engaged here. Take an inhale. Lengthen the hands up overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center. Let's do that one more time. Inhale up. Exhale it all out. And thank you for joining me today in this yoga foundation. Namaste.